Hello everyone, Lily and Daniel here with Chimpies. Thank you all for tuning in today. We appreciate you. Within this video, we're going to share with you all the approach that we take on our end to utilize this heat press right here by HeatPress Nation. If you have any questions about anything that you may hear or see throughout this video, I'm going to encourage you to drop a comment below. We will do our absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. With that being said, let's dive straight on into this. Right here is the heat press, and this is where I wanted to start. So up close and personal, this is what we are working with. I will make another video on how we go about cleaning the top of the heat press, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for us. Here is the heat mat right here and the heat plate. We've actually done an in-depth review on this heat press, and I will go ahead and leave that video floating up top for you so you can click that on your end. But I'll go ahead and give you some different angles right here of the heat press that we are working with. It is yet again a 15 by 15. It is an MPRESS from HeatPress Nation. Links will be down below for you. So this is what we are working with. Taking it from the top, typically we want to start off with having a design ready. So in this case, we're going to be doing a design that I have here, and this is the HTV vinyl that we're going to be placing down. As you see, we're placing the glossy side down onto the mat. So just to reiterate, the glossy side of the HTV vinyl is going face down onto the mat. This information right here isn't directly in correspondence to a heat press per se, but this is how we get to where we are going, so to speak. So what we're doing is we're firing up the cameo right here, and we're going to input the HTV that we just placed down. And what Lily is doing is aligning the cameo rod right there, so that way we can align it up in proportion to how we need it. I would like to add that this is one of the many ways that we can go about using a heat press. We will show you more advanced ways that we go about using a heat press in shop. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for us. This is the design that we are working with right here. And when you are working with the design, or HTV rather, if your design contains any letters, words, and or numbers, even some designs may be required to be mirrored before you cut. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you mirror that design before you cut it, so that way when you do place it down onto the shirt for pressing, the words and or the design is not backwards. So here we are going to begin to send the design on over to the cameo for cutting. Make sure you select the appropriate blade that you're using. Make sure your blade is set to the correct settings. Make sure all of that is appropriate to your needs, and we will make more videos on how we go about doing that on our end as well. So as you can see, we are now cutting out the design, and the cameo is going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to be patient right now. We're going to allow the design to cut out completely, and then from that point forward, we will go ahead and proceed with the next part of the process here. I figured that I'd be a little bit more transparent and show you all the process that we worked up to get to the heat press. So this is essentially, in a nutshell, us getting the design ready for pressing. Again, I just wanted to provide as much transparency as I possibly can. Should you still have any questions, please, by all means, I encourage you, drop a comment below. We will do our absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. So we are going to allow the design to finish cutting up here, and at this point we're just going to be patient and wait it out. What we're going to do is, after this is done, we're going to go on over to a weeding station to remove any excess HTV that we will not need for the pressing. The design is done, and we are going to unload, and as you see, you can see kind of silhouettes of the cut there, so to speak. Allow us to bring you to an up-close view here. So we are now at the weeding station, and what Lily does is she likes to pull the mat off versus the HTV off of the mat. And what we're going to do now is cut off the excess that we can save later on for smaller designs. As you see, there is quite a bit of excess remaining, and then there's also some more excess on the sides of the design. So we're removing the excess amounts of HTV that we won't need in the design, and then after that we start removing the excess HTV that's in the design. Typically we start at the corner right here. We do have an elaborate in-depth video on how we go about weeding a design. I will leave that video floating up here in the video so you can check that out on your end. Now as you see, we are weeding this design right here. So after we are done weeding, the design should only show with no excess HTV, as you see right here. It's just simply the design that is going to be pressed. We are now ready to head on over to the heat press. So here we are in front of the MPRESS 15 by 15 heat press. We've also done a full in-depth review on it, which we will leave floating up here for you so you can check that out on your end. So we are now going to turn on the heat press, and while it's heating up, we're going to begin to place down the shirt, line up the design for pressing. Lily here is beginning with placing the shirt down, and what she's going to do is, as the heat press is heating up, she's going to use that warmth of the heat press to remove any moisture as well as flatten out the shirt. And as you see, she's going to do that to both sides. So as you see here, she's placing down the shirt front side up and pressing it once again. And after we press it, we actually get a lint roller and just roll it over the entire shirt to remove any excess lint or any sort of debris or anything that could interfere with the pressing. So after we've lint rolled the shirt here to our satisfaction, we then go ahead and remove the shirt. Now this technique is for lining up the design in proportion to the shirt. So what we do is we get the shirt and we fold the shirt in half, and when we fold it in half, we create a little crease down the middle of the shirt, which is going to guide us on lining up the design. So to create the alignment line, as you see, we just did a light short press, so that way it gives us a faint line right down the middle. So from here on out, it's just about taking our time to align the design in proportion to the shirt. Every shirt size is different. Every design would be aligned differently in proportion to what the client wanted. Lily does this trick where she gets the design and she will fold it in half. And as she folds it in half, that creates another alignment line in which she uses to align with the alignment line on the shirt itself. So she not only creates the alignment line in the shirt, she creates the alignment line within the design as well. Here she's using her hand to get the correct placement down to her liking there. She's also using a ruler to make sure that it's lined up to the best of her ability here. Now during this process, should you need to move your design to realign it, by all means please do so. We encourage you to get that aligned to your liking. Even if you have to pick it up, move it again, that is always encouraged, as opposed to pressing it down when the placement wasn't to your satisfaction. Once we found our placement and everything is to our liking, what we do is we proceed to make sure that the entire design is on the mat, so that way when we press down, every single part of the design is being pressed with high heat and pressure. Before pressing, we actually like to apply a piece of Teflon over prior to pressing. So here we are doing some final confirmations, making sure that everything is aligned to our liking. And when it is, we begin to press down. And as you see, Lily's going to press down for a short amount of time. And what she's going to do is she's going to lift and remove the HTV film. And after we do that, we then begin to go ahead and place the Teflon back on to press again. So here is the removal of the film for you all up close. As you see, it's stuck just fine. And then what we typically do is place the Teflon back over and press again. Now I won't go into the specifics on how long we want to leave it for, as every single material and setup will be different and the temperatures will vary, which is why I'm not touching base on those specifics, more so sharing the approach on how we go about using the heat press. And as you can see here, the press is completed and we're going to remove the Teflon and show you all the results up close here. We will be making more in-depth videos on how we go about using the heat press with different materials, timings, and temperatures, so be sure to stick around for that. So here is the product. This is the final result. As you see, the design is nice and proportionate to the shirt sizing, and it is right down the middle where I wanted it. Now keep in mind, this is HTV, this is not sublimation, so sublimation would be embedded into the fabric. HTV is going to be sitting on the fabric. Now if we look up close here, when we zoom in, we can actually see the fabric texture through the HTV. So what that tells me is that when we press with a high heat and pressure, the HTV binded to the fabric, and that's exactly what we are looking for. And that right there ensures that the bind to the shirt is going to hold up and the design is not going to go anywhere. This is how we go about using a heat press for a t-shirt. We will be making more videos on how we go about using heat presses for various other items. Now, if you saw or heard anything at any point throughout this video that you may have questions on, I'm going to encourage you to drop a comment below and I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. We also have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as we would genuinely appreciate the support on there as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us and ring that bell, as we will be bringing more videos like this for you all. Thank you for tuning in yet again. You have a great day.